It's July 19th, 1989. A quiet Wednesday. 296 people are heading toward Chicago, some towards vacations, some toward home. In the cockpit, Captain Al Haynes runs through a routine he's done thousands of times. Then, at 37,000 feet, a sound like a bomb. Every pilot trains for engine failure. Nobody trains for losing the airplane itself. This flight should never have landed. But what happened next would redefine what courage looks like at 37,000 feet. Among them, a mother flying with her young son. College students, a group of Air National Guard soldiers heading home from training. In the cabin, flight attendants moved through their pre-landing checks, the same checklist they'd performed 1,000 times before. Up front sat Captain Al Haynes, First Officer William Records, and Second Officer Dudley Dvorak, a crew with a combined lifetime in the air. It was, by every measure, an ordinary afternoon. But buried inside the engine bolted to the tail of this aircraft was a flaw no one could see, a flaw that had been growing for years. A titanium disc inside that engine had a microscopic crack, invisible to inspectors, present since the day it was forged. At cruising speed, that crack finally gave way. The disc shattered. Shards of metal tore through the tail of the aircraft, through systems no one believed could ever fail together. Hidden in the design was a single point, where all three of the plane's hydraulic systems passed close together. In an instant, all three were severed. The systems that controlled the rudder, the elevators, and the ailerons, gone. Engineers had calculated the odds of this happening at roughly 1 in a billion. It had just happened anyway. And now, 3 men in a cockpit had to figure out how to fly a plane that, by every rule of aviation, could no longer be flown. Haynes pulled back on the controls. Nothing happened. The aircraft kept turning, slowly, toward the ground. He radioed air traffic control with words that would become aviation legend. They had lost almost all flight controls. The only thing still responding was the throttles, the power to the 2 remaining wing engines. By adding power to one engine and reducing it on the other, the crew discovered they could nudge the plane's direction, a technique no manual had ever described. Then a passenger stood up. Dennis Fitch, an off-duty flight instructor, offered to help. For the next half hour, Fitch knelt on the floor of the cockpit, working the throttles by feel, while Haynes and Records fought to keep the nose level. 4 men. One impossible problem. No instructions. Just instinct, communication, and each other. Somewhere below, a small airport in Sioux City, Iowa, was about to become the most important runway in America. On the ground, emergency crews were already moving into position. Word had spread. An aircraft was coming in with no steering and no brakes. In the cockpit, the descent was steepening. Too fast, too steep. There was no way to slow it down. The crew lined up with the runway as best they could. There was no flare, no gentle touchdown, only a plane fighting gravity all the way to the ground. The right wingtip struck the runway first. The aircraft cartwheeled, broke apart, and came to rest upside down in a cornfield beside the runway, engulfed in flame. For a moment, it seemed impossible that anyone could walk away. And yet, 184 people did. 111 lives were lost that day. Their absence would be felt for generations. But the survival of so many others stunned investigators. Many called it impossible. Some called it a miracle. Investigators studied every second of those final 44 minutes. And what they found changed aviation forever. The way this crew communicated, sharing information, admitting uncertainty, working as equals rather than a strict hierarchy, became the foundation for a new kind of training. It's called crew resource management. Today, every commercial pilot in the world is trained in it. Because 4 men in a crippled cockpit proved that humility and teamwork could matter as much as skill. But for those who lived through it, it became something else entirely. Proof that even when everything fails, people don't have to. The airplane was lost. Hope wasn't.